And we are live. All right, so for anyone who's been playing along with us at home, welcome back to episode 8 of the Talking Average Fitness podcast. As always, my name is Sam Burns, and I am joined by the world's tallest elf, Mr. Kevin McCarthy. How are you, sir?
Doing fantastic, Sam. How are you doing today?
I'm doing a lot better after I saw that beautiful bicep in an American salute. Go ahead and give me another one of those. That was beautiful. Woo! With the Christmas tree behind you, there's just too much America. Uh, all you need to be doing now is wearing, like, I don't know,
I need
some
like an
form of
American flag T-shirt or something.
anything. Yeah,
Yeah.
it would just be, oh, that's beautiful. Um, as we are wont to do, which I get flack for using that phrase, and I don't care. As we are wont to do, we were talking prior to the episode starting, and the topic of today's podcast is the holidays because they
Mm,
are imminent. For some people,
they're
they might
here.
already be, yeah, they're here.
They're here. It's happening.
Yeah, like depending on your personality style, you might have been, you know, um, in full swing holiday mode since the end of Halloween,
I was,
um,
I was gonna say end of October.
end of October, exactly. That's definitely a thing. I know those people.
Yep, I do know
Yep,
those people. I'm married to one of them.
there you go. My
Yep.
wife, my wife Katie, she doesn't skip Thanksgiving. She has very clear limits. So it's Halloween
Yep.
right up until Halloween, and then Thanksgiving right up until
Yep.
Thanksgiving, and then Christmas starts.
So we have a thing at the gym where we'll put up on the board like a question of the day, and it's really just to try and stir the pot. Me and
Oh, sure.
Colin really just try and piss people off, and it's amazing. Makes it because people get heated. Um, And so one of them, Colin feels very strongly about this. He was like, at what point
Yep.
does it become appropriate to start decorating for Christmas? And he
Good.
listed like a bunch of different dates on the whiteboard. And it was like, it was like November 1st, middle of November,
Hmm.
after Thanksgiving,
Yep.
December 1st, and then like, middle of December, whatever, like kind of a few dates on along the board.
Yep.
And I was shocked at the amount of answers that were anywhere prior to December 1st. That like anywhere prior. I'm like, you might have like a small argument for like after Thanksgiving, like if Thanksgiving's done, you're in the weekend after, you got to hang all the Christmas lights depending on where you live. Maybe it's not frozen at that point, so makes it safer to hang the lights. I'm like, you might have a small argument for that, but I'm like, no, no, no. December 1st. Let Thanksgiving happen, let the food coma ride its way out and then move on to the next one. So it is kind of funny that people get heated on it. That question of the day thing.
Well, I think so many people, well, humans be humans. We all have opinions.
Yep.
Um, and oh, hey, what's up, cat? The cat may or may not make an appearance on this episode. Um,
Okay. Same
it's
for
a,
me.
yeah, see, like, cats be cats.
Yep.
Um, so now, like, let's use that as a nice little segue. Um, holidays are coming up. I think there's a bunch of different things that pop into people's minds, but I think probably the thing that pops into people's minds the most is things like food,
Yep.
like nutrition. Um, Dr. Lane Norton had a great post this morning on Instagram.
Oh, yeah, I saw
Uh,
you shared that. It was great.
yeah, and is cool little pieces of data that are built into it. So um, most people
Hmm.
will fluctuate. I think he said if you're going to put on weight in a year, they'll put on between zero point 0.5 and 2 kilograms, and almost
Hmm.
exclusively in the 6 weeks at the end of the year. So that's
Yep.
from the middle of November to the end of December.
Hmm.
Um, and here's the cat. And so for those of us who speak American, that's a little over a pound, upwards of 5 pounds, between 1 and 5 pounds. Most people will put on in a year, and almost exclusively in the 6 weeks leading up to the end of the year, right? And
Yep.
I bet you if Thanksgiving was in June and New Year's was in March, we would end up with a more normalized distribution across the entire year.
Yep.
But we don't.
No, the
We've got,
the holiday schedule is pretty packed into like
yeah,
that kind of 6 week window.
it really is. Like your question about like when does the holidays begin? Like you could be celebrating, for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
all of
Yeah.
November, all of December. And I say that with no judgment whatsoever. But the other thing that was tagged onto that post was ways to mitigate that, you know, zero point 0.5 to 2.5 or 2 kilos that a person might put on during the holiday season that don't require you to pull a Catherine David's daughter and like bring your trifecta meal like in its little plastic container to your holiday gathering.
Yep.
And that's not a shot at trifecta either. Um, so I'd love to kind of open that up and get your thoughts kind of off the top of your head.
I mean, for me, having worked in fitness for so long, you see all these different trends that tend to like kind of permeate into the space, and
Mhm.
people get psychotic around the holidays. Um,
For a
you've
lot of
worked
different
for some
reasons.
for a lot of different reasons, and we're gonna dive into all the different reasons.
Sure.
Um,
Maybe not all of them, but certainly the CrossFit ones.
yeah, yeah. Um, and they get so worried about um, like I'll use Thanksgiving as an example, right?
Mhm.
So Thanksgiving, literally a holiday based around food.
Yeah.
And Thanksgiving dinner happens at 2 p.m. for some reason. But it's like everyone gets so freaked out about it. And like one of two things kind of happens when people are
Mhm.
freaking out and they're being psychotic about it is either scenario one, you have the catch and Davis R type person who's like, nope, I'm not having any stuffing. I'm not having any mashed potatoes. Your
Thanksgiving is
mac and
not
cheese,
happening.
yeah, your mac and cheese can go fuck itself. I'm having the lean turkey breast that's dry as all hell, and some green beans, and I'll have a protein shake when I get home to like
Yep.
counteract any catabolism or whatever that's going on there.
Right.
So it's like that. That's the thing. Um, so yeah, that's kind of like scenario one. Scenario two is when someone like they hit the fuck it button. I'm gonna eat 7 servings of everything.
YOLO.
Make sure that there are no leftovers at all, and then I'm gonna go annihilate myself in the gym the following day or whenever they can get to the gym next. Like I'm gonna go run 10 miles and then do 100 thrusters with
Hmm.
185 pounds and heavy carrying while I'm at it, and
Yep.
then 300 burpees for time
It's
because I'm a
it's a
piece of
hate
poop that
wad.
ate too. Yeah, yeah. Because I am a piece of poop that ate too much the previous day,
Yeah.
and like those are kind of the two ends of the spectrum that tend to like kind of be the most prevalent, I guess,
Yeah.
in people that take their fitness seriously. And I
Mhm.
think if you are in the CrossFit space, I'll kind of just use that as kind of its own. If you're in the CrossFit space, you do like we care about our fitness and we not only want to be getting fitter and looking better and the whole thing, but you also want your performance to be improving. And people can get kind of freaked out about something that might potentially bump that off its, off the rails or off track.
Yeah.
Um, so, I'd like to think that there's a happy medium that lives in there that allows you to maybe not lose your mind. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Sam? In terms of I mean, you don't need to use Thanksgiving as an example, but
Well, I think it's as good a place as any to start. And first of all, I do like that you kind of started with like you acknowledged something that is a little bit unique. Like CrossFit is a health and fitness program. CrossFit
mhm,
is not an exercise program. CrossFit, I mean, and like, so the defining factor there is nutrition. And Greg Glassman, the founder of CrossFit, tells stories about how people he would he would bring people in as his one-on-one clients, and he had people who were in parallel fitness and nutrition clients. And so, running a similar path, he's espousing the CrossFit methodology, but you come in, the work that you do in the gym is the the what we traditionally think of as CrossFit, which is the burpees and the thrusters and whatever. And then there's the stuff that you do when you leave, whereby we're trying to support from a nutritional standpoint, metabolically, those things that you do inside of the gym, and for good purpose because all of that serves to like make the rest of your life better, and that's how you get fitter and healthier and blah blah blah. Um, I think that you know what I see more common is I see very few people who have the wherewithal, the force of will to say, no. And they put their foot down and they pull a Katrin David's daughter where they eat the lean turkey. What I see more of is the hate wad,
Yep,
where either
definitely
before
see
or
that a
after
lot more.
Thanksgiving is a great example. So everybody wants to have Murph happen the morning of Thanksgiving
Yep,
to like excuse or to like
I'm
offset.
earning it. Yeah,
Right,
I'm
I'm
earning
earning
it.
it. Right? No, you're fucking not. Like, and I say that not because like I don't want to say that nobody's. I don't want to imply that people aren't working hard when they do something like Murph, but I also think that like there's a lacking in understanding about things like how many calories you burn in a workout and
Oh my God. Yeah,
how like what
yeah.
the percentage of the calories you burn in a workout is relative to the rest of your day. And like even here's another little wrinkle in it. Even long workouts, you people who are incredibly fit, it takes more work for you to burn more calories.
Yep.
Sorry, bro.
That's the thing.
Like,
If you're doing a workout, right? If you do, if you we'll use your example of
yeah,
Murph. If you do Murph and I know these times aren't realistic, but like just so don't shred me for it. But like if you have someone who's super fit,
yep.
does Murph in 30 minutes,
That is a super fit time for Murph.
well, yes. uh, it's like that person is going to, by definition, be burning less calories because you're way more efficient
Yeah.
than someone who takes an hour to do Murph. And the
Right.
math there isn't that the person that took an hour is burning double the calories. That the
Mm-hmm.
math doesn't equate. So now it's like, all right, I'm just going to sandbag Murph and do it in 3 hours because I'm burning more calories.
Right.
That math doesn't equate there.
I
Um,
mean, yes and no. I mean, if you're doing a certain amount of movement for a protracted amount of time that is above and beyond, say, a resting heart rate, yeah, you're gonna get some additional burn, but
it
it's
would
not a
have to be
one-to-one
significant.
comparison.
Yeah, it would have to be significantly longer
Yeah.
for that to happen. It's not like, well, take the person that because again, like if you take the person that did Murph in half an hour
Yeah.
or did the half an hour time, and then they're like, well, I'm just going to stretch out to 3 hours. It's like they're so fit that they're probably not going to get much from. They're basically just kind of like this is going to sound bad, but they're like at rest if they're doing Murph in 3 hours.
Yeah.
So it's it depends on your relative level of fitness, and
Well, and to put some
that's the
metrics to something like
whole
that,
thing.
if you're cranking on Murph and you're at 80% or higher of heart rate the entire time you're doing it, right? But then if you stretch your Murph out and now you're sub 50%, you're in like essentially zone 2 cardio land, like you're just not going to generate the same amount of uh, energy calorically that we might hope for at that pace. Um,
Right.
yeah. So I see a lot of this. Thanksgiving is a great example. We've got to earn it. My argument would be, no, you don't. And even if you think you will, you won't. Just because, like, it doesn't take a lot, and come back to like Western nutrition and stuff like that. Let's say you do a 40-minute AMRAP.
Yep.
You're a big dude, and so and when I say like that is you are a physically large human being,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're a good example of the extreme end of one thing, right? And so by that I mean humans who are physically larger and relatively lean in terms of percentage of muscle mass versus body fat tend to burn more calories, right? Because it takes
Mm-hmm.
greater energy to move that frame through whatever. It doesn't matter if you're at rest or if you're at a workout, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
honesty time. How tall are you?
6'1".
You're 6'1". Over the
Mm-hmm.
same height? I always thought you were taller than me.
Might have been
Eh,
wearing big shoes.
that's true. That's possible. Lifters. Um,
Always wear
rough,
lifters.
rough percentage body fat.
Probably 12 or
Probably
somewhere
12,
in there. Yeah.
right? You're 6'1". How
Yeah.
much do you weigh?
205.
205. So you got about 10 or 14 pounds on me, depending on the day, but about same percentage body fat, right? We're the
Mm-hmm.
same height, which means Kevin has almost more assuredly more muscle mass on his frame than I do, right? So if we did the exact same loads and the exact same times, the exact same reps for a given workout, Kevin would likely burn, assuming we had similar fitness levels metabolically, more calories than I would because he has more mass to move through that workout, right? Well, how much have you ever like worn a health tracker or anything like that while you did a Murph, like a Whoop? Do
Yeah.
you remember ballpark what you got out of it?
I know the strain was super high. I don't remember the caloric estimate because I mean that's for most fitness trackers is what it is like an estimate of some sort. There's an algorithm.
Sure.
Um, anyways, I can't remember off the top of my head what the like because it'll give you like your average heart rate, your max
Hmm.
heart rate, and then like your caloric burn for the session. I can't remember off the top of my head what the caloric burn was, but I know that the strain
Yeah.
was like 1670, like something super high because you're
Sure.
just going for a long time and
Sure.
you're being a dingus and you chuck a weight vest on. You're like, ah, seems like a good idea.
Yeah. Right. So I
Yeah,
would
why
I
not?
would wager that as fit as you are, even with a weight vest, cranking right along, trying to do your best Murph, right? It's
Yep.
probably between 300 and 700 calories for that
Yeah.
single instance of Murph, right?
Yeah. If it was probably somewhere between like 500 and 600 calories for me, somewhere in that range for that workout.
Cool. 500 to 600 calories. All right. So now let's turn that to food. How much
Oh,
turkey, mashed potatoes, stuffing, and gravy does it take to equal, call it 550 calories? We'll split the difference.
bro, I'll smash 550 calories worth of mashed potatoes just in one go.
That's not a lot of food.
No, it's not. It's not a huge amount. I'm trying to think
No.
like measurement wise. If you did like an estimate, it's probably disregard because I mean, if you're talking like mashed potatoes and gravy are probably your two like most caloric dense. Maybe stuffing would be like your
Yeah,
most
stuffing would be
calorically
another,
dense,
and
whatever.
with
But if
butter,
we're oh yeah, I
right?
mean, who's not going to use butter?
He's not going to use,
Um,
well, communists.
um, but let's just say like for mashed potatoes, if you have like I don't know, probably like a cup and a half of
Hmm.
mashed potatoes,
Hmm.
like that's 500 calories.
Yeah. So
So
thinking now, like, and I don't say this to like burst anybody's bubble. Like, you
right.
want to do a Thanksgiving Day workout, do a Thanksgiving Day workout. But do a Thanksgiving Day workout because you want to go and commune with your people.
Yeah.
Like, Thanksgiving is a day for giving thanks. In, you know, fucking first
Yeah.
world country land where we live, yes, we can be
Yeah.
thankful for the fact that we are healthy and we live in the country that we live in and we get to do things like CrossFit with like minded people who are going to encourage us. That's a beautiful reason to go and do a workout, right?
Yep.
But I don't
Hmm.
want anyone to be under any illusions about the fact that they're offsetting like whatever's going to happen later in the day, unless you end up pulling a Katrin Davis daughter. And at that
Right.
point, and this is for me personally, unless you are attempting to do a Katrin level event or like at that elite level, whatever it might be, I wouldn't recommend it. Because you're missing out on something.
Even if you are trying to compete at that level, on a holiday, I still wouldn't recommend it. I
Yeah.
I just think that like psychologically, that it's okay to be a human being and have a drink and a piece of pie with your friends, and it's gonna be fine. I like people get so wrapped around the axle of oh my gosh, this is going to derail me, or if I
Mm-hmm.
don't hit my macros, or if I don't get my second training session today,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever it is, my strain wasn't X amount, then if I eat this, it's going to just derail all my progress of everything. It's like one day
Mm-hmm.
is not going to ruin. It's also impossible to gain weight in that one day.
Yeah.
If you're just so if you're smashing a bunch of food
Mm-hmm.
and it's more food than you typically eat, and you wake up in the morning and you weigh yourself and you're heavier, it's not because you gain body fat. It's not because you gain muscle mass. Your body can't synthesize and store that stuff that fast.
Yeah.
It's water weight. You're just holding on to more water. And especially if you
Yeah.
have like a super carbohydrate dense meal, which
Mm-hmm.
Thanksgiving tends to be,
Typically.
yep, typically, then that's what that's going to be. You're just holding on to excess water.
Mm-hmm.
Give it a day. Like eat if you eat normally the next day, that will all flush out. And the
Yeah.
next day when you weigh yourself, you'll be back where you were.
Yeah.
The only weight that you can gain in such a short period of time, and we say like one day,
Mm,
would just be excess water weight.
mm,
Now, when Lane was talking about people gain somewhere between 1 to 5 pounds in that window on average,
mm-hmm.
that's because you have these wonderful things, this God's gift to people called Thanksgiving leftovers. Um, and so then
I know where you're going with this.
yes, and if you extend out, you're like, I crush it on Thanksgiving, and then all I had for lunch and dinner was Thanksgiving leftovers, and lunch and
Mm-hmm.
dinner the next day, lunch and dinner the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone brought a pie and they all left them with me, and now I have 7 pies to eat. And Mama didn't raise no bitch, so I'm just gonna get to work.
Yes.
It's like that's where that can turn into if you have like a prolonged period of time. Then your body can start storing excess body fat
Yeah.
and stuff like that to where you might see that weight gain. But like in a very short window,
Mm-hmm.
if you're like, all right, I'm gonna eat my food, have some drinks, enjoy my time with friends and family or whoever you celebrate with,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're back into your normal routine the following day,
Yeah.
you are going to be fine. And honestly, that day of just kind of like, I'm not going to worry about it, I'm just going to have fun with my people,
Yeah.
is probably going to be way more beneficial to you
Yeah.
than any macro plan, any workout, any magic, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be way more beneficial just mentally, emotionally, the whole deal.
Absolutely.
Eat a damn
Absolutely.
cookie.
Well,
Eat
yeah,
a damn cookie.
eat a damn cookie. Well, and and to kind of like put some professional speak. Hey, kitty cat. Put some professional speak on what Kevin just described. So the reason that we're talking about between 1 and 5 pounds in the 6 weeks coming up to the end of the year is the intervals rather with which we are consistently eating more calories. It's not
Yeah.
that you ate gravy and gravy is the devil. It's, oh, hey, bird roost off the side of the house. It's that it is more calorically dense on accident. Let's not even say on accident, but without trying too hard, you can very easily eat
Hmm.
250, 500, maybe 700 calories more than you would normally with foods like that because they're so calorically dense. Mashed
Hmm.
potatoes is a great example. What's going on with your fur? Oh, you were digging at it. Mashed potatoes is a great example. Stuffing is a
Hmm.
great example, right?
Yep. Yep.
But other times of the year, it can look like rice. Have a little bit too much rice, a little bit too often. Sweet potato is a great variation on that, right? So it doesn't have to be just during the holiday times, but that's why that happens. Um, I also loved his recommendations for kind of mitigating some of those things, right? So let's say that you want to go, you want to enjoy your holiday parties, you want to be with your people, but you want to be mindful, right?
Hmm.
He had a couple great recommendations, and I'll I'll kind of tack on my own, and then I'd love to hear yours. His example was, um, say I'm gonna go to a holiday party. They've got amazing food. I'm going to limit myself to one plate. Can't go back for leftovers, right?
Yep.
That
Yep.
doesn't include desserts, but that means if you have a dessert, you have one thing, right? So like
Yep.
a piece of pie, and you can't go around for other things. Now, this is one person's recommendation of one way to psychologically mitigate some of that um, mitigate some of that additional calorie intake, right? So you have one plate
Hmm.
of food, one plate for dessert. My personal favorite is to make sure I hit like a big thing of protein in one of those meals. So I find that like Thanksgiving was a great example. My wife cooks a killer turkey. I
Mm.
I am so lucky on so many levels with this woman, but Thanksgiving and Christmas time, it really starts to those reasons start
Or
to
she
add
earns
up.
her keep.
She earns the keep. She earns all of the keep. She's the only person who earns a
In
keep.
that one day.
Yeah, well, in all of the days, but it's we get to Thanksgiving and it's just the ribbon on the package. She does this crazy thing where she actually like puts lemon butter underneath the skin of the turkey and brines the turkey for multiple days. It's amazing. Let's put it this way: we haven't
Wow.
had a dry turkey ever with her. So what we will do, we'll cut the turkey, we get everything set, and then I will make sure the first thing that goes onto my plate is 80 grams of protein in turkey, right? So it's about 300 grams of turkey. That's a lot of turkey, right?
Yep.
Fair amount of protein, fair amount of food. But that is like I want to be able to clean my plate, and so that means I have to be judicious with the other things I'm going to eat. I might not get two big helpings of mashed potatoes. I might get one helping of mashed potatoes, and then a little bit of green bean casserole and a little bit of sweet potato. And
Hmm.
by the time I get through all of that, I'm usually full, right? And
Yep.
another thing that I love doing, I don't know if anyone else can relate to this, but I'm the person who I sit down to eat, and this isn't Thanksgiving, this is every meal, and I just arm on the table, fork in hand, and just wow, 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 right? Like that's just how I eat.
Yep.
It's not very endearing, sometimes it's a little weird. And so what I will do is take a bite and then put the fork down and just chew and relax and enjoy the food. And I'll take the next bite and I'll put the fork down. And so with the fork out of my hand, I cannot continue to shovel, right?
Yeah.
But it allows me to, one, appreciate the food, right? Which, I mean, I don't have the world's most developed palate, but I can sit back and I can appreciate, for example, the hard work that went into preparing that food.
Hmm.
Second, if I'm not hyperspeed style shoveling food into my face, I find that the hormones, I believe it's ghrelin, that is the hormone
Yep.
that is tied to satiety or being quote unquote feeling full. The chances that I get that hormone signal from my brain that says, no, you're okay, you've had enough, right, is higher. And that I will
Yep.
like not only get that signal, but also be able to interpret that signal appropriately. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That's like if the faster you eat, the essentially the faster you eat, the more you can eat before the fullness hits you. And that's where
Mm-hmm.
like I'm sure everyone listening, myself included, Sam, I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
you've been with, the fast eater. I'm also a relatively quick eater. Is that feeling of like when the fullness hits you, it's like you're sickeningly full. You're like,
Yeah.
oh God, I have made a mistake. I done fucked up. I done
it,
goofed.
is, it is too late. You can't go back.
Yeah, it's too late. You can't go back now. Now you just have to sit with lay food baby for
Yes.
the next, however long.
Yeah.
So yeah, if it's eating slower can definitely help with that because it
Mm.
does allow everything to kind of process properly, um, so that you're not just continuing to eat all over the place. But um, for me, if we use the Thanksgiving as an example, for me, like I'm gonna want to try everything because anyone that brought anything that was prepared, I'm like, I want to try it. So for me, it's just like having reasonable servings of each thing. So, like yourself, we'll tend to load up a bit more on turkey,
Mm-hmm.
um, and for the rest of it, make sure some vegetables get on my plate in some way, shape, or form.
Yep.
Whatever the veg, some it could be green beans, could be corn, whatever it is. Vegetables make their way on the plate, and so once I have like my protein and my vegetables, and those are like reasonable servings of things, the rest of the plate is just, could be a mac and cheese, could be a mashed potatoes and a stuffing. I got all three,
Mm-hmm.
getting wild and crazy. But
I
it's
know.
not like I'm having two scoops of each thing. It's
Right.
like let me just have one scoop of each thing,
Yep.
and we're gonna be good.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time I have finished, like you said, that one plate, and then you have one thing for dessert, you're gonna be pretty set and
Yeah.
pretty satisfied and pretty happy, and haven't gone so far off the rails that you're beyond saving for the next 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's generally the way I tend to go about it. Is probably a pretty similar approach to how you, like you said, load up on the protein.
Yep.
You don't have to skip anything. Just keep the servings reasonable.
Yeah.
Don't exceed the size of your plate. Don't have like a mountain of mashed potatoes with some like turkey and broccoli hidden in there.
Yep.
So that sounds amazing, by the
It
way.
does
But
sound. Yeah.
uh,
Now I'm thinking about it.
a mountain of mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's how I would recommend going about it without having to stress too much.
Yeah.
Don't be the person that and I'm sure this will like I'm not trying to call anybody out, but if the boot fits, Um, don't be the person to pull out like your food scale. I have to hit X amount of grams of turkey, and like putting my plate on the thing and like weighing out the mashed potato
Mhm.
scoops and like, oh, I can have just like a little bit. Have a scoop of mashed potatoes. You don't need the food scale. It's fine.
Yeah.
You're gonna be okay.
Yeah. You
You're gonna
are
be
going to
okay.
be okay. And I, you know,
You're gonna live to see another day. You didn't
and I
lose any fitness.
well, and I say that as the guy who like the food scale is in my kitchen. The food scale is out
Mm-hmm.
full time,
Yep.
and
Yep.
I weighed out my turkey. I was that guy, right? But that's
How
because for
dare you?
me, the amount of insanity that I was willing to engage in was I want to make sure I hit my protein number, right? Because
Okay.
that's important for me. I didn't
Yeah.
measure
Fair enough.
anything else, you know,
Yeah.
and I didn't
Fair
log
enough.
it. I didn't track. I just wanted to hit that number. Now, I'd like to. I want to say something else, and then we're gonna dive a little bit deeper. The other thing I will say is what we're describing here is just we talked about Dr. Lane Norton and how he might handle something like this. There's my own recommendations, what I do during the holiday, what Kev does. You do not have to do anything. We're
Mm-hmm.
not saying that you have to in any way attenuate the amount of food that you're eating during the holidays. We're not trying to put that on anybody, um, because as we've said, like if you do that, especially like if you go someplace, like you go to a relative's house and then you partake in a feast and then you come home, unless you're bringing a significant percentage of that feast home with you, then you don't have to sweat like what happens on a single day, right?
No.
So, enjoy, be with
Yeah.
people. Yeah. What are you
I
gonna say?
mean, these are just kind of like tips of how we can for the people that again find their level of insanity they're willing to
Mhm.
partake in.
Mhm.
You can keep track of things that way. But it's like I've done Thanksgiving dinners where like I will go back for seconds.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like I'm like Aunt Joan made some awesome fucking mac and cheese. I'm gonna have some more.
Yeah.
So that's fully okay. You like,
Absolutely.
we're not telling you that you have to stick to one plate or that you have to eat X amount of turkey or that you can't have a second scoop of mashed potatoes or you're a horrible person.
Yeah.
That's not at all. But it's just those were just kind of two counts of how we would again manage the level of insanity you want to kind of partake in,
Mhm.
without it being too much insanity type thing. But like if you're like, nope, I'm gonna go and have four plates at dinner for Thanksgiving because tomorrow we're setting a back squat PR, baby. Then go get it.
Get it.
I'm all for that.
That's yes. So I want to. So now let's take this concept of like things that we might recommend people do during the holiday
Yes.
season, right? And this could account for any number of holidays. I'm gonna go one further. How about
Okay.
this? I don't want you to show up and do a workout the morning of Thanksgiving or Christmas Eve.
I'm right there with you.
I don't want you there. And
Nope.
so let's say this, like the gym's open, right? The
Uh
gym's
huh.
open and someone got up early and they're running anywhere between run 1 and 3 classes. Um, I don't want you to go, right? Not saying this is what I actually feel. Make a hypothetical case. Right?
Yeah.
Why might I not want you to go to the gym on Thanksgiving Day morning or Christmas Eve morning, whatever it ends up being? Talk to me, Kev.
Uh, I might need a little more context. Are you talking to me as like why might you as the coach not want me to go, or why might you just as Sam recommend people not go?
Well, so one of the things that we talked about is like, so let's come back. Let's make it from like a me, Sam. I work in an affiliate.
Okay.
I'm the coach, right?
Yeah.
How much in the super accurate statistical modeling system that is your brain? How much do you think might it piss people off if, for example, coach sends a message out on Tribe or Sugar WOD or whatever, is like, all right, gym's closed for Thanksgiving or Christmas Eve. Have a happy holiday, everybody. Peace. Like,
Oh, the members would riot outside for I know we're gonna dive in here. We're setting up the soapbox. I can feel it. Um,
there, maybe, maybe not.
oh, it, um, yeah, people would be very, very upset. And it's something that I really, in my 10 years of doing this, working for affiliates, every single holiday season, it's, Thanksgiving, we're running a class, two classes, whatever it is.
Hmm.
On Christmas Eve, it's a class, it's an open gym, it's a
Yeah.
class and an open gym. It's,
Right.
whatever it is. I've worked at affiliates where um, the expectation was, and this caused some like some tension
Hmm.
in and amongst the staff because there's there is some kind of a back and forth there, but the expectation was for the affiliate to be open on Christmas Day.
Wow.
Um, yeah, so uh, anyways, it's I can't understand it as me as just a human, as me as a full-time CrossFit coach. And again, like we've talked about this. I love the methodology. I love coaching.
Yeah.
It has never made any sense to me as to why, number one, gyms are open
Mhm.
in and around holidays,
Mhm.
especially if that holiday is on like a weekend or something, or like towards the end of a week or whatever it might be.
Mhm.
Why gyms are open, and secondly, why people go.
Yeah.
When I see people show up to the gym on Christmas Day,
Yeah.
like Christmas morning, 9 a.m., like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I like what honestly, and that's not to like, be mean or I think you're a horrible person, but what the fuck are you doing?
Mm.
This is Christmas morning. It's a holiday that 99.9% of people in the United States have off.
Mhm.
You have the full day to do whatever you'd like, spend time with your family, spend time with your loved ones, your friends, again, whoever you celebrate with, whatever your
Yeah.
situation is. You have that day off.
Mhm.
And yet your priority is coming into the gym for whether it be a class or an open gym. Like that, the fact that that's your priority, that it blows my mind. And I've never understood that. And I've never understood why gym owners, managers, whatever kind of role they're going to be in,
Yeah.
have the gym open on those days. I can't for the life of me understand it. Um, and it's even on days because like I mean, again, full disclosure, like I've had holidays that I've had to work. Like, yep, Kev, you're on the schedule for Christmas Eve.
Yep.
And then but even if I'm not, even it's like, hey, Kev, you have the entire Christmas weekend string of days completely off. I'm like, well, that's cool, but now my other coaches have to work,
Yeah.
and that's dumb too.
Yeah.
Even if whether it's me having time off, me working it, it's like I don't know, it pisses me off the same amount because
Yeah.
even if I have the day off, I'm like, well, someone's there working and being kind of like forced to work on a holiday,
Yeah.
and in my opinion, that's stupid. And I mean, I know that's a bold thing. I've never owned a gym. I currently work for someone that owns a gym, so,
Yeah.
um, but Uh, yeah, I can't for the life of me understand it, and I don't understand people's priorities, the gym owner's priorities, and like having that be the situation. I don't know how you feel about it, but that's my very strong feelings about it. It's stupid on both regards.
Well, so I mean, I'll come at this from a coach's standpoint first, right? So, you know, I'll make the blanket statement that it's Thanksgiving Day, the gym shouldn't be open. It's Christmas Day, the gym shouldn't be open.
Hmm.
Um, I'll make that statement as boldly as I would make the statement that on Memorial Day Monday, you run Murph. On
Hmm.
Veterans Day, you should also run a hero workout. Very popularly has been Chad last couple of years.
Yeah.
Um, I would even go so far as to say that New Year's Day it should be closed as well. Maybe even Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. Um, and I say this for a couple of reasons, but mostly because I think about like the vision of the world that does CrossFit that I have and that I want to be real, and I go back to world class fitness in 100 words. You know, so for those of you who may or may not know, tucked into the level one manual, I believe it's. I'm going to get this wrong, or I think I'm going to get it wrong, and it's going to drive me nuts. But I believe it's the original CrossFit Journal article, "What is CrossFit?" that has world class fitness in 100 words. I don't know if it's in Foundations or if it's in What is
Mm.
CrossFit. Um,
It's one of those two.
it's
I
one of
don't know.
those
I
two.
don't know off the top of my head either.
It's going
So
to drive me nuts until I know it, but I think it's What is CrossFit. Anyway, so that article in the CrossFit Journal or in your level one manual, tucked off to the side, is world class fitness in 100 words. You've probably seen it written out someplace. It's the thing that begins: eat meats and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, and no sugar. Keep intake to just the levels to support exercise but not body fat. Practice and train major lifts, blah, blah, and it runs through a whole bunch of lifts. Similarly, master the basics of gymnastics, blah, blah, blah. And it goes through metabolic conditioning stuff, and then very end, the last line of 100 words of fitness says, regularly learn and play new sports, right?
yep.
The impetus for that, and if you go back and you talk to people who were around and trained with and under Greg Glassman, was we do the things inside of the gym so that we can go out and live fuller, richer lives, right? So, like, I come and I do CrossFit because it gives me a greater level of fitness, so then I can go do X. We've had this discussion before about like
Yep.
whether we're doing CrossFit to be fitter or trying to be better at CrossFit.
Yep.
I don't want to go down that rabbit hole right now. But baked into this regularly learn and play new sports is the idea that the pursuit of fitness is not the most important thing. The other things that we do with our lives are the more important things, right? So, like, I'm a better husband and father because I do CrossFit. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
better member of my community. I'm a better neighbor to the people inside of my neighborhood because I do CrossFit. And so, for me, it is not too great a leap to then say, on those days, like Thanksgiving Day, Christmas Day, maybe even um, Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, and New Year's, instead of me going in and doing the thing that I always do, that I like to do, I could turn around and during that time of year that for some people is the hardest time of year, I could do something for someone else, you know? And like affiliate owners, if you're out there, like here's a great, easy way to write off the fact that you're going to close the gym for Christmas. Hey, everybody, we're going to close the gym for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. We will not be open. Our coaches are, we're giving them some much needed time off. If you would like to do something, we encourage you to go to one of these 5 soup kitchens and to donate your time.
Mm. Yep.
Right? Like, talk about taking the thing, you know, one of the gifts of every affiliate community is the community, right? Instead of smashing your face by doing 500 fucking burpees, in a 1 hour time period, like go and step outside of the boundaries, outside of the walls of the affiliate and see who's out there. See who cannot come in and take a little bit of that time that you were going to use for yourself and give it away for free. Like at a soul level, you will not be poorer for having done that. And so like when I think about like the vision of a world that does CrossFit, I see more people doing things like that than I see spending time in an affiliate on Christmas Day or Thanksgiving Day or something like that. And that does, part and parcel with that, it provides the opportunity for your affiliate owners. We have so many affiliate owners who are owners slash operators. These people, yep. they open the doors, 5 to 7 days a week at 5 a.m. They're the people who pay the bills and they take care of the insurance and they clean the bathrooms and they do all the things that they have to do so that you have a space to go and do this thing that you love. And then they hire and train and develop other coaches who can coach some of the classes so that you can go and do the thing that you love. We create a space for them to take a break and for
Hmm.
them to relax. Because when you, I don't know how you feel, but when I coach, it's outbound emotional energy,
Yep.
like full tilt. And like the days that I like am exhausted, it's because I'm giving,
Yep.
you know? And it's, I imagine it's similar in other service professions, and we do work
Hmm.
in a service profession, and that's a gift. I don't say that in any way as a slight, um, but the thing that enables people to avoid burnout is periodically taking time off,
Hmm.
and not just having another coach cover classes or picking the new guy to go and open the gym on Christmas Eve or whatever. Nah, bro, everybody, everybody gets a day off. You know,
Hmm.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And
No, that.
I would love to see more communities doing some of these things that I see some communities doing, where they take the entire community. Hey, everybody, we're not going to do a workout today. We're going to donate our time. You know, I think
Yeah.
that's a I think that would be a beautiful thing to see more of.
Or I just think that like if we're looking like baby steps, just before that is, obviously that would be an amazing scenario where it's like, hey, we're going to take our community, we're going to do something meaningful for the community, outside the four walls of the gym.
Yeah.
I think what has to happen before that is people need to not lose their minds if and when the gym is closed, because
Yeah.
people will get so upset about it that it's, and for no reason. But the thing is like you also, if you're going to do that, if you're going to close your gym,
Mhm. Well,
um,
you say for no reason, but I think back to what Pat Barber said, where it's like we've conditioned people. Like we have conditioned people to like stimulus and response. He was talking about we condition people to lift heavy and then get sweaty, lift heavy and then get sweaty. He's talking about strength and Metcon programming.
yep,
And then when you take that away, all of a
yeah,
sudden they're experiencing withdrawal symptoms. They're not getting the
yeah,
same like serotonin and dopamine trigger.
yeah. So maybe not for no reason like that. Like their reason exactly is that like I was planning on going to the gym. Now you're telling me the gym is closed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. Um, because they're probably not taking a second to just think about it or chill out.
Yeah.
But we had this scenario like again, I was working in a gym, and this was again the expectation was that like for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day the gym would be open for either like one class in an open gym, or I
Mm-hmm.
forget what the structure was, two classes, whatever it was, handful of hours. The gym would be open in the morning,
Yeah.
and this is a gym that had multiple locations, and uh, myself and another gentleman were in charge of one of the locations. And even though the expectation was this, like we made the decision, we're like, no, we're gonna close
Yeah.
our location. And if people are that bent that they need to go get a workout in, we have two other locations they could use.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to close, and the kind of we were going to ask for forgiveness rather than permission type approach.
Yeah.
So we kind of like made the announcement. We did it. Took the class off the schedule.
Turn the
Made the
notifications
announcement.
off on the phone.
Yeah. Uh, put a thing out to members. Hey, this is the deal. We're closing the gym on these days.
Yep.
We'll see you guys again the following. I forget when Christmas fell, but we'll see you guys again the following Monday.
Yep.
And I think it was maybe like because I think what we do is like Christmas. It might have been like that Christmas Eve was a Saturday
Yeah.
and Christmas was a Sunday. So it's like on Friday we were like we're going to cancel the afternoon classes. The last
Mm-hmm.
class of the day will be the noon class. So we have like our normal morning schedule in the noon,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll see you guys again Monday.
Yep.
And we're gonna take that so that people can travel to where they need to travel to go see their families.
Yep.
They can spend their holiday however they like to spend it. We'll see you guys again on Monday.
Yep.
And so we put that out, and I had a few members come up to me in the gym, like, cause we put the announcement out like a few weeks in advance. It wasn't just like,
Okay.
on Thursday, like pulling the rug out from under people.
Friday
Um,
morning.
yeah, Friday morning. Hey guys, guess what?
Peace.
No, it was like, yeah, it was like a few weeks in advance that we had, put this out there. And had a few members come up to me like, during class or in the gym. Hey Kevin, how come we're closing the gym? Like, how come the gym's closed? How come like the other two locations are open?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, myself and, other coach that shall remain nameless to not throw people under the bus.
Absolutely.
Um, I was like, myself and this other person here, we decided to close this location to give, like it's been a rough year for our coaches. We've been
Mhm.
very understaffed. And so we decided to give our coaching staff some time off.
Yeah.
And so as soon as I gave that explanation, everyone's like, oh, it's a great idea. Awesome.
Yep.
Like, we'll see on Monday. Like it was no issue
Yep.
as long as that was communicated.
Yes.
Um, and so once that was communicated to people, like, hey, we're closing the gym. Here's why. It's because our coaching staff has been working. And again, when people like again took that half a second to step back, like, oh yeah, it has been a pretty rough year, and there weren't nearly as many coaches as we had previously. So it's only four people covering like everything throughout all 7 days we were open.
Right.
It's like,
54
yeah, like
classes a week or whatever.
yeah, like 60 classes a week between two people primarily, like two full-time coaches and two
Yeah.
like part-time coaches that helped a ton. Um, it's like, yeah, we're gonna give them time out. Everyone's like, when they took a second to stop and think about it, they were like, oh yeah, you guys have been working real hard, like you guys, and so like you guys do deserve some time off,
Mhm.
type thing. And afterwards, people were like, oh yeah, you guys do deserve some time off.
Yeah.
I was like, oh thanks.
Oh, thank God.
So oh, oh thanks. Um, so needless to like at the end of the day,
Mhm.
it was all fine.
Yeah.
There was a very stern, I guess, talking to between myself and this other coach and the owner of said company.
Mhm.
Where he, basically, what the hell? Why did you? I was like, well, we feel this way. It's
Yep.
done now. Like, we put it out there, so it's done now. So
Yeah.
see you Monday.
Yeah.
Uh, so and it was all fine. And the thing is, everyone, all of our members were 100% supportive of it. They were good with it. There were
Yeah.
a handful of them that made and when I say the trek, maybe a 10-minute drive difference
Okay.
to another location. Like, they
Sure.
weren't very far spread out. So like there were a handful of people that you'd see like pop up in one of the other locations, and that's fine. If they really, really felt they needed to get their workout in for whatever reason,
Yeah.
they had that option. But it was fine. And
Yeah.
honestly, if we use the scenario of Thanksgiving, if you make the choice to close your gym on Thanksgiving, there are 5 bajillion different turkey trots all around every different state where you can either do like a 5K, 10K, 2K, 1K,
Yeah.
half a K, whatever it is that you're like, walk, run, sprint, jog, crawl, um, whatever distance that you can go sign up for and partake in your community. If you really, really feel like you need to get some work in,
Yeah.
there, if you're really feeling like you're getting shortchanged on your fitness, I'm sure there's like a 4x4 space on your floor somewhere in your house that,
Yeah.
one thing that's always free is burpees. They're always
Oh
free.
man.
You're more than welcome to get after, 12 point CrossFit Open 12.1.
Yep.
Rest a minute, do it again, rest a minute, do it again. If you really feel like you're getting shortchanged on your fitness.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's like, or, we had done it previously at a gym where, if we were going to close the gym, whether it was for like a snow day type thing, like the
Mhm.
weather's real bad, coaches can't safely get to the gym.
Sure.
Um, uh, we had like a graphic we put out with like a at home workout. So
Yep.
we'd take the workout of the day, whatever was going to be the workout at the gym, and we would do kind of like here's if you have like some equipment like
Yep.
dumbbells and a jump rope,
Yep.
and here's like if you have no equipment, what
Yep.
you can do for like your workout. And so we would post that on Instagram, Facebook page, email it out to people
Mhm.
if there was a snow day, if there was a holiday we were closed. So like for those like Chris Steven, we put out like here's a version of this and this you can do at your house.
Mhm.
You can always go for a run. You can always do burpees.
Yes.
Um, so like not just like, hey, we're going to check out from life, but I think that's a way that you can kind of bridge the gap is if people feel like they need to work out, even if you're like, hey, we're going to close the gym
Yeah.
on this day or for these couple days, if
Mhm.
depending on the holiday, have some at home options or variations prepared for your people. And if you put that out there, like, hey, we're going to close the gym, but here's some at home stuff you can do, those people are still going to feel like they're getting value from you and you're not just like kind of telling them to go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
So that can kind of bridge that gap for those coaches, affiliate owners, business owners that are kind of maybe afraid of pissing people off by closing the gym.
Yeah.
I've seen it work as people really appreciate. They're like, hey, we're going to be closed on this day. Like, we're closed on Thanksgiving, but here's a Thanksgiving Day workout that you can hit at home with your family if you want.
Yeah.
Use your 4-year-old as a weight for thruster, whatever it is. uh you know
4-year-old's a lot of weight. I don't know about
it,
that.
it could be a lot of, well, it could be, that's your strength portion, Sam.
Yeah,
then
right.
then you then use your 1-year-old for Fran.
There you go.
uh
Yeah, I love that as, first of all, yeah, like if you own an affiliate or you're the head coach in an affiliate, like listen to what Kevin is saying. And if you are the person who is, what's up, Cat? If you are the person who is feeling like pressure to keep the doors open, like I would really encourage you to dig in a little bit, like introspectively, and determine where is that pressure coming from. I know a lot of times, like, because to take it back to your story, hey, this member comes up, hey, why are we closed? You communicate.
mhm.
Our coaches have been working really hard. We want to give them the day off. We think they've deserved it, right?
Mhm.
Member immediately. That sounds awesome. Great.
Yeah.
Have a great weekend, right?
Yeah.
I,
Easy.
huh, sounds easy,
So
but
it's not easy. Simple.
simple, yes.
Yeah.
And
Simple.
and easy so long as you don't have anything inside of you that is saying, "Oh, I don't deserve that."
Yep.
And that's
You,
really
you
where the
you
hard part
have
is.
to say it with confidence. You have to know in your heart that, like, this is the right choice. We're gonna do this.
Right.
And then when someone confronts you on it,
Mm.
you need to be able to look them dead in the eye and be like, yep, this is why we're doing it, and this is why it's the right move. And if you can do that, there's generally not a problem.
Yeah.
I kind of learned that, I guess, or kind of like the first, I was listening to Chris Spieler used to have a podcast, which is phenomenal.
Mhm.
Um, and they were talking about membership prices
Yeah.
and how CrossFit kind of falls into this space where, like, it's not quite personal training and not quite like maybe the amount of money per month if you were doing the same number of personal training sessions. Like, it's cheaper than that, but it's not as cheap as like a Planet Fitness where it's like, hey, $10 and you can go be silent in the corner with a pair of 10-pound dumbbells. Um, so it's somewhere in the middle there. And he was basically talking about how you can, like, you have to know that, like, this is the product we offer.
Yeah.
This is what that product is worth.
Yeah.
And when I tell you that price, I know we're worth every bit of that.
Yeah.
So, like, if someone comes up to me and be like, hey, what's the monthly rate at your gym? We charge $215 a month. And you can, like, look them dead in the eye. We charge $215 a month, and I know that we're worth every bit of that.
Yeah.
It's like that, you have to have that kind of confidence with your decision making as an affiliate owner, I mean, really any business owner, really, but just specific to CrossFit. You have to have that confidence in your product, in your people, in the experience that you're going to give them. Be like, yep, nope, that's the price we can charge, or yep, we're going to close the gym this day and here's the reason. And if there's any pushback,
Yeah.
you have to be able to, like, kind of, I don't want to say stand your ground, but stand your ground type deal.
Well, first of all, I agree, and I think that that highlights a separate but related issue that is most CrossFit gyms don't charge enough. Um, what?
That's
I
probably
got I got
true.
nothing for you.
Well, I shouldn't say that's probably true. That's true.
That is true, and
It's
I
true.
know it's true because I know the value of CrossFit, and I know the value that it plays in people's lives. And when people work backwards from value and they
Yeah.
compare it to what they pay, there's usually a big discrepancy.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's for, and this could maybe be like a topic for another podcast we can talk
Sure.
about, but not only just like the value that CrossFit brings to people's lives from multiple angles,
Yes.
but also just at this specific point in time where we've gotten to in terms of
Yeah.
like coaching development overall
Hmm.
is way different. Going to a CrossFit gym in 2009,
Oh God.
like, terrifying.
Yeah.
Um, good to fair chance that there's someone like trying to do thrusters on a Bosu ball just because they're like, ah, it seems fun and it's functional, whatever.
Right.
So and and there wasn't much for, not there wasn't much, but it wasn't such a it wasn't as common for a CrossFit trainer to pursue more development, and there
Mhm.
weren't nearly as many avenues. It's
Mhm.
basically like you get your level one, now what?
Yeah.
Well, if you really want, you can get your level two. But the level two, or the coach's prep course, as it was back in the day,
Mhm.
was pretty gnarly. Um,
Its
and
original
it's like,
iteration had a 70% attrition rate.
yup, yup. Um, and so it's like, so you can go down that route, which
Yeah.
is, intimidating to say the least.
Mhm.
eh,
Mhm.
Or like that was kind of just like, or just,
Yeah.
maybe you're at a gym where you have some seminar staff folk that work, or you're, in striking distance of some that you can get some better development. And um, there wasn't really a clear path. Whereas like now you have all these specialty seminars. We have all this access to subject matter experts. We have, CrossFit level 1, 2, 3, and then now I just got the email today. The CrossFit level 4 registration is open. So there's
Yeah.
there's that option as well. You've
Yes.
got the coaches development program. You've got, all these different avenues of, and I could list off a few, because like I don't want to leave anybody out, but there's so many
Yeah.
different
I know what you mean.
avenues of
Yeah.
furthering your development as a fitness professional, as a CrossFit trainer, that it's just raised the bar
Yeah.
exponentially. So,
Yes. Well,
even
and
in the past 5 years.
that should be the case. The bar should be continually raised.
Oh,
And you're right.
100%.
This
Yeah.
is a whole other subject. I'll put a button on it and I'll come back to what I was talking about. Like,
Yeah.
there are more avenues for development, technically, psychosocially, for people as coaches to increase the value. That's only one avenue in which value can be increased in terms of service offered
Yeah.
to clients, people inside of the gym. But like, coming back to this thing where it's like you deserve it, like coaches deserve a day off. They need that time to reset and recalibrate. And when members hear that, they're very willing to say, yes, that makes sense. I bet you those same members would be very reticent to then look at themselves and say, yes, I deserve time off as well.
Hmm.
It's not going to hurt me to take 2 days
No.
off from the gym. And it's,
No.
it was a very, very, very popular book, 12 Rules for Life. One of the rules is treat yourself as if you were responsible for someone else, essentially. Like, it's, we are, is the analogy that is made in the book is that we are very willing to look at a sick person and say, you need to go to the doctor. You need to go to the doctor right now. Like, you look horrible, like you're hacking up a lung. Why are you not at the doctor's office right now?
Hmm.
Were we to experience those same things almost across the board, people would be like, no, it's fine. I'll figure it out.
I'm good. Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And it's so like it's it's this universal thing where we are willing to subject ourselves to suffering. And I'm not talking like in the CrossFit sense of the word, where like, yeah, I'm gonna go do 500 burpees. Like, there is this near universal sentiment that the attention that we pay to ourselves is not as important, or that we are not
Hmm.
worth. We self-evaluate that we are not worth the same amount of attention or love or um, grace as we might freely offer to someone else. To which I
Yep.
say, horseshit. Like, it is horseshit. Like, and like,
Yeah.
you can't, like, you have to, people, I'll say it to anybody, love yourself, man. Like, you gotta create a little bit of space for you to relax and reset so that you can do with a whole heart in the best version of you, or of you, the thing that you know you need to do in whatever your job is, or whatever your vocation, or in your family, whatever. Like, you need to love yourself. You need to create the space for that to happen so that you can be the best version of yourself. And
Hmm.
sometimes that includes things like, you know relax and tell yourself it's okay to not go to the gym on Thanksgiving Day.
Hmm.
It's okay to be with your family. It's okay to go donate time. It's okay to not do anything and just sit and binge watch, I don't know, Tiger King again. It's something anybody can identify with.
Yeah.
You know, I like, and maybe it's because it's this season of the year. But for me, that seems to be it's a thing that's near universal, and it doesn't matter if you're on the coach side or if you're on the member side. Like there are bigger, more important things that we as members in this community, and I'll single out CrossFitters because that's primarily who we're speaking to. There are
Mm-hmm.
more important things that we can do on those days. There are
Yep.
bigger, more important things that we can do. And I agree with your statement. Hey, if you're not willing to go full send and just shut the gym and recommend community service, the other side of it is send it. Go full send. Shut the gym. Like
Mm-hmm.
anybody who argues with being like the recommendation of doing community service, like there's an opportunity to assess whether or not you want that member in your community, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And all of this comes back to like, why did you open your affiliate? What is important to you? You know, clearly outlining like your mission statement and your core values and things like that. Because if you haven't done those things, it's very hard to draw a line in the sand and to stand by it, you know. But for those people who have and who have dug in on it, when they say, you know, we want to build a loving community, well, that community extends beyond those four walls,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I think there's so much that can be done, and there's so much that we can do to create more space, to be gentler with ourselves, and to love ourselves, both as coaches and as members, but generally
Mm-hmm.
as people inside of this community. Um, and being okay with the fact that you might have two helpings of sweet potatoes at a meal is just
Yeah.
one iteration of that,
Yep.
you know.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I think that's a great spot to kind of wrap up.
yeah,
Good final point.
well, you know, I try to keep up with you. Um, we're at the hour 6 mark. Any final burning desires, Mr. McCarthy?
No, not really. I just, eat the damn cookie,
Yeah,
close the damn gym.
eat the damn cookie, close the gym.
Yep,
Beautiful sentiment.
that's it.
Yeah,
I just don't take it too seriously because
mm,
it's gonna be okay.
yeah,
If the gym is closed for a day, we're all gonna be fine. If you miss working out for a day, it's gonna be fine. I went
yes.
over the course of Thanksgiving this year. I didn't work out for 10 days.
Like,
It's just I was traveling. That's another thing to kind of give people is like travel. It's like I
yeah,
was traveling, went down to Georgia. You don't know where a gym is or there isn't a gym near you, but I wasn't concerned about it. It's like I'm
right.
down here. I don't get much time to spend with this side of my family that lives down in Georgia, so I'm going to spend that time with them. I'm not going to be
Yes,
concerned about it. So it was just the way it lined up with like travel days and whatnot. Like I hadn't by the time I worked out, then the following week on Monday, like it had been I hadn't worked out at all the previous week, and it was like the prior week on like Friday was the last time I'd worked out, just because the way schedules worked out. Couldn't get to the
mhm,
gym on the weekend. Coached Monday, had to get right home to get right on a plane,
yep,
and then the rest is history. It's like it's, and guess what? I'm not any less fit for it.
yeah, yeah.
It's gonna be
I think
okay.
I think it's a great button to end things on. Um, enjoy this holiday time. It's rare that we kind of like as a whole people take the chance and do stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with it. And if you're looking for ideas, if you're a coach or affiliate owner, you're a member in a gym, you're looking for ideas or recommendations on things to do outside of the affiliate, please, for the love of God, reach out. I'd love to help.
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
one
and
hundred
if you
percent.
and if you're one of those people who was like, what do you mean core values or mission statement? Really, please reach out. Like we would love to help you figure that out, and you won't be worse off for having figured those things out.
Nope.
So, Kev, please go forth and enjoy the cats and the Christmas tree lights,
Oh,
and
will do.
we will reconvene next week, most likely. That's the plan, at least. We'll figure it out
Yep, that's the
um,
plan. At some point, we'll
at some point. We don't tell anybody when we're going to do these things, so we'll just drop the next episode when it drops. All right, my
yep,
friend.
we'll catch you later.
We'll see you.